Kiwis love a thirst. Like Finn, we're making waves. Generate. Switch online today.
Sean Yarbrough, Broke Boy Taco, welcome to my podcast.
Thank you.
You said you're nervous.
A little nervous.
Why? Why is that?
I don't know. I'm not. I'm usually like either on the phone in an interview, or if I'm getting an interview, I'm just kind of like talking and hanging out. It's not really like we'll put you in the hot seat and then drill you some questions. But I'm ready. I'm down.
Is this your first long form podcast interview?
I think so. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I've done a couple things like on radio and stuff, at Rock FM and stuff like that. But that's like, more just. They don't have like the hard-hitting questions, you know what I mean? They're just like, so what'd you do yesterday? So
I cooked fucking tacos.
Yeah. I cooked tacos, man.
Yeah. Well, it's great to meet you in real life. Like I've seen your social media stuff. I thought you had gold teeth. You got braces now.
Yeah. So you know what's funny? I'm such a like redneck that I had horrible crooked teeth my whole life, but I was like, I want gold teeth, and just had them put gold teeth on my crooked teeth. Which everybody was like, what's going on there? Just get braces, dude. So I was like, yeah, true. So I spent a little more money and got braces because I've always wanted straight teeth. That was actually one of my dreams, like as a kid, because all of my friends and stuff in school had braces. So I was like, I want braces, but got them when I was 35. Yeah.
Oh, better late than never.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get into the whole Sean story, including the early years in Kentucky, which is the tattoo at the top of your forehead.
Yeah, Kentucky.
So it's Kentucky, and is that barbed wire?
Yeah, barbed wire.
Either side of it. What's the significance of that?
I got a lot of barbed wire. I got barbed wire on my arm here. I got it on my knuckles. There's just a lot of barbed wire where I come from, man. It's just there's not a lot in Kentucky. There's grass cows, barbed wire. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, come on. That's unfair. There's one of my idols, Muhammad Ali. He's from Louisville. He's from Louisville, which is where you're from.
That's where I'm from, yeah.
The Cardinals.
Yeah.
The baseball bat. The Louisville Slugger.
Yeah, Louisville Slugger.
Kentucky Fried
Chicken, the Colonel Sanders.
And barbed wire.
Don't forget barbed wire.
That end.
Yeah, there you go.
So who is Sean Yarbrough?
Just a normal guy. Yeah, come from like a, real lower class family, real poor family growing up, and just a normal dude with a dream, I guess. And I'm one of those rare, super, super, super rare examples of somebody who's pretty much achieved their dream in life, and pretty early, 35, I think, is when I'd say I ticked that box. Mm. And obviously, I still got dreams and stuff, but I'm just a normal dude. Yeah, like playing video games and hanging out.
Yeah. One from what I know about your story, one aspect that I love about it is the sobriety journey and just how exponentially better your life has got.
Yeah.
Since you've quit that. I've had so many people on the podcast in that same sort of position, and no one has ever said, you know what, since I gave up drugs and booze, my life got worse.
Yeah.
No one at all. So sober since November 13, 2021.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Was there a rock bottom moment, or what was the turning point? What was the last?
No, I mean, not really, man. I mean, there was just, I'm one of those people that I can stay away from alcohol pretty much all day long, real easy. But if I have a sip, I'm off to the races. You know what I mean? I'm not stopping. And I don't know why that is. Maybe it's genetic or something. I don't know. But I didn't even start drinking till I was like 23, 24. It was pretty late in life when I had my first sip of alcohol. But I knew very early, like, wow, I love alcohol. This is awesome.
The taste or the feeling?
Both. Both. I mean, the taste of bourbon tastes like sweet honey to me, and the feeling of it, I felt like I was on top of the world, Superman. I felt like a different person, and I think maybe that's the problem, is that whenever I would drink, I'm already pretty, like, animated and pretty confident person, and I'm very social already, but whenever I used to drink, it would go up to 11, you know, and it would go overboard, you know, to the point where I was obnoxious and I was just yelling and screaming and I was in people's faces and, you know, it just, I just didn't really, maybe it's because I didn't, you know, grow up drinking and I didn't have a good relationship with it or something. I don't know. I just know that it's not for me, you know, but I've always kind of struggled with it, and it got to the point where here it was a combination of things. It wasn't just one thing that made me quit boozing. It was like, I had a conversation with my boss who worked at Ralph's, which I'm sure you know. His name is Mikey, and he was like, whenever this whole taco thing started, he's the one who really pushed me to like, you should cook some tacos, because he asked me one day, like, do you know how to cook Mexican food? I said, yeah. And he was like, well, show up tomorrow and cook us some Mexican food. So I did, and he was like, bro, this is crazy. You got to sell this. You got to sell this. We don't have this here. And I was like, really? So that was one thing. I was like, wow, maybe I need to lock in, you know? And then my girl, you know, I would drink and I would be happy, and then I would get angry, and then I would get sad, and then it was just a roller coaster. And my girl was just like, dude, like, this is so dumb. You got to stop. This is ridiculous. It's embarrassing. You know, if I'm out in public with you, it's just stop it. So I was like, all right, yeah. And I had, you know, for years been like, yeah, I'm going to quit. Well, it happens to be I'm in a new country. I'm in a brand new country. I can reset everything. Nobody knows who I am. I can start over. And it really felt like I could start over in life. And I just woke up one day and I just said, I'm not gonna drink. And I just took it a day at a time. I didn't go to AA or anything. I just put all my focus in obsessing over tacos, I guess you could say. And
yeah, it seems like you almost replaced one addiction with another one.
I did. Yeah. I'm one of them people that, like, you know, I love, it's hard for me to love, but when I do love, I love hard. You know what I mean? So I fell in love with tacos, and I didn't really realize, I guess, that I had the recipe, I guess you could say.
I can see parallels. So my relationship with alcohol is much the same in that I can easily not drink, but as soon as I drink, then I start looking at my watch, thinking, well, the supermarket's going to shut at 9. I need to like get there before 9. So in a lot of ways, it's just easier not to start than to, So what does an average day look like now?
Average day is I'll probably generally wake up around like 6 in the morning because my cats won't shut up. They just meow at my door nonstop, and if my door's shut, they jump all over me and literally run across my face when I'm sleeping, which is cool. So yeah, I'll wake up at about 6. I'll have a coffee and jump on the emails, you know, packaging, designs, setting up, you know, social stuff, events for the trailer, checking the deputy schedule, make sure all the employees are all good and nobody's calling out sick. And there's just a lot of admin. Yeah, a lot of admin. And then once I get done with all that, or put a pause on all that, I'll run to the shop, ask around, make sure everything's all good, have a couple tastings, and yeah. So,
so you've got the 2 stores in the Auckland suburb of Mount Albert, a food truck as well. And just to timestamp this chat, we're recording this in mid-February, and it was just announced yesterday that you've got a new store coming in Birkenhead in Auckland.
Birkenhead.
Yeah. Man, the empire.
Yeah. I'm excited. I mean, we're looking at, you know, South Auckland. South Auckland always shows up every time I'm down there, and they're big supporters. So I got a lot of love for South Auckland, especially like, you know, Manariwa. I went to Manariwa for the first time. Is that how you pronounce it?
You're asking the wrong guy. Manariwa?
Okay, yeah. What you said. I went down there and...
No.
Yeah. He said it, not me.
I'm not your today mentor.
Yeah. No, it was nice, though. It reminded me a lot of home, so it's just comforting down there. And sometimes when I'm walking around Ponsonby, I feel like a sore thumb. You know, I feel a little out of place, but...
in what way?
I just feel like everybody's better than me. You know what I mean? I just feel like, you know, it's one of the reasons why I named it Broke Boy. I just felt like, you know, I don't have a lot in common with people that live in Ponsonby. You know what I mean? And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying anything that's negative. I'm just saying like I don't relate to a lot of people with yachts and shit. You know, I don't get it. And I can't really, it's hard to have conversations with people like that because there's a bit of a disconnect. But
one of your investors drives a McLaren.
Yeah, but he came from sort of similar position that I came from, and maybe one day I'll have a McLaren. But
do you want a McLaren?
No, I want like a '67 Mustang or something. You know what I mean? Real American muscle.
I feel like I'm from a little town called Palmerston North, which is about
Palmy
North, P Naughty.
Yeah.
And I've been in Auckland for about 20 years. And when I moved to Auckland, I lived in Ponsonby, and I thought the same thing. I thought everyone was better than me. And then you realise it's a very non-judgmental suburb. So I think a lot of the time it's the stories that you're telling yourself about you. It's not necessarily how other people see you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I maybe for you that applies, but for me, a lot of people look at me like I'm a gangbanger or something. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, Jesus Christ, this kid covered in tattoos and he's in his sweatpants and gold and stuff. But like I was out in Cumu. Is that how you pronounce it? I'm so bad. But I was there yesterday, and me and David, shout out David Adesanya. He's my investor. We were there yesterday talking to the accountant. Shout out my accountant too. I love you, bro. I love you. Take good care of me.
You're like a rapper with a big posse.
Hey, I had a discussion with them, and they said, when you're on the podcast tomorrow, shout us out. And I said, okay, I'll shout you out. My accountant and my investor. But me and David were outside, and we were just talking like, oh yeah, so like we'll meet up this day, we'll meet up that day, and this dude came by with like cowboy boots and was like, hey, you guys don't be talking near my building, get over there, like go talking to it, just out of nowhere, and we were just like, what's going on? So it's just kind of like, you know, I mean, I don't blame him. I'm like covered in tattoos and I'm gold and I got a hat on and I look a little sketchy, but you know.
But you've also got braces, which says, this guy's got an orthodontist.
Yes.
Shout out to the orthodontist.
Yeah. Big shout out my orthodontist, Eden orthodontist.
Yeah. So you're engaged now. So your fiance, Amy, so you met her in San Francisco when you were living rough.
Yep.
We'll get into that part of the story. And then, so her visa expired, and so she was an illegal, an alien, had to go back to New Zealand, and you followed her back.
Yeah. So we met on Tinder over there, but I wasn't I wasn't like kind of bouncing around whenever I met her. That was like a bit earlier, but you know, I had a solid place to stay when I met her. Thank God, because you know I wouldn't be here. Most likely wouldn't be here if I didn't. But
So by the time you met her, you were. Would you say you were a mess, but not a hot mess?
Yeah, I'd say so.
You're ready to grow up.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, I had started doing real well, but then what had happened is that we had met, and she was like, dude, I only got like 6 months to be here, so I'm not looking for a relationship. And I was like, it's all good. You know, I'm not looking for one either. You know, we'll just hang out and party and blah, blah, blah. And then we actually started, I guess that's what they say, right? You're not looking for love. It just kind of happens.
Creeps up on you.
He creeps up on you when you're not looking for it, you know, and then that's what happened to us. And we were like, damn, you know, she's got to leave. And then I was like, I don't feel like doing long distance. And she was like, I don't, you know, I'm in college. I can't do it. And then we ended up doing long distance for like a year. And then I think that was a real rough period in my life where I was head over heels in love with this girl, but I couldn't be with her. And I didn't really know anybody in SF other than the people that I drank with and did drugs with. So I was just kind of bouncing around and, you know, had even more of a reason to booze all day and lonely and sad and felt sorry for myself. So that was real bad. And I think that period is when it got probably the worst for me. But sure enough, she got a visa to come back to to San Fran. And we moved in together, and then, you know, we started really making a plan for our future. Yeah.
So what were you doing for work at the time in San Fran? Were you like a kitchen hand?
I was bartending.
Right.
Yeah, I was in and out of restaurants. I I would, I knew I had been there at that time for a good amount of time, so I knew pretty much everybody in the industry in the Mission District. So I would bounce around. My buddy would call me, "Hey, bro, what are you doing tonight? I need help over here." Yep, I got you. And then, so the next day somebody would call me, "Hey, man, you want to bartend here tonight?" Yep, sure, no problem. Because if you bartend in SF, it's like a career. You get paid a base hourly rate of like, $12 an hour or something, but you also get like $300 a day cash. So it's like you can make a lot of money bartending while whenever you're in the kitchen cooking, you make like $15 an hour and that's it. You know what I mean? So I was just like, that wasn't cutting it for me. And then, funny enough, whenever I moved here, I was like, ooh, I could just bartend here. And then bartending here is not an option. It's the opposite. It's like you can actually make some money if you're chefing, but you can't do it if you're bartending. So I stopped bartending.
Oh, yeah, there's no tipping here whatsoever.
Yeah, nope. But, I don't really believe in tipping, but, it is what it is.
Yeah, so you moved to New Zealand with Amy, and, what's your first job? Where do you begin? What year is this, by the way? When do you move here?
This is 2021.
Right.
Yeah, this is February 2021.
See, a lot's happened very quickly, eh?
Oh, my God, man. I wake up and I'm just like, didn't I just get here? How do people know my name that I don't know who they are? But yeah, a lot's happened. A lot's happened real quick. Drastic change. If you would have told me when I moved here, I would be here right now, I would probably got angry at you and been like, stop making fun of me. You know what I mean? But,
You just didn't allow yourself to dream that big.
I just think it's just unrealistic, man. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's weird. It's almost like I woke up one day and everything had changed. And I know when that point was. And I'll talk to you about that point later. But, yeah, I got here in 2021, and then I was looking for a job. I got a job at this place called, I think it's called Sweatshop Brew Kitchen or something. I don't know what it's called. Yeah. And I was only there for a couple weeks before me and the head chef really got into it, and then I walked out in the middle of a shift.
I got into it like a fight.
Yeah, pretty heavy. Yeah,
really?
Yep, he started. Oh yeah,
chefs are angry.
It was embarrassing too because I was living with my girls' parents at the time. We were staying with them at the time until we could find our own apartment because we just moved here, and it was real embarrassing too because I had to go home to them and be like, "Yeah, I don't have a job anymore. I just walked out." And they were like, "What?" And mind you, this is the first time that they're really getting familiar with me, real personal with me. So they're just like, they're probably like, "Jesus Christ, what is it? Who is this guy?" You know what I mean? And I'm just like, shit, But yeah, no, the head chef over there, we were in real big trouble. We were real busy, and it was only me and him. And he was just barking orders at me. He was asking. I had dropped something before I was supposed to drop, the chicken, and he's like, "What the hell's the matter with you? Is there something fucking wrong with you?" And I was just like, "Bro, what?" And he was just barking at me, and I was furious, man. And I was just like, "Okay, just get done with the orders, get done with all these tickets, and then you can talk about it." So I got done with all the tickets about 30 minutes later, and I looked at him. I said, "We got any more tickets?" He goes, "Nope." I go, "Cool, I'm fucking out of here." And he goes, "What? What are you talking about? What's going on?" And I go, "Bro, you're real lucky. You're real lucky. Don't ever talk to me like that, ever. And you're real lucky that I'm just fucking getting out of here." You know what I mean? Because where I'm from, you just don't you don't be disrespectful, and being disrespectful is one of the worst things. To me, it's just everybody's all the same, man. I would never say that type of stuff to him. "What the fuck is wrong with you? Are you stupid?" He said shit like that to me. You know what I mean? And I just don't. I just grab my knives and go, "Have a great one, bro." And I just walked out. And obviously that was a real hard decision to make, especially when I just moved to a new country. And, that was my only line of income. But you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
And then what? Just another job in a hospital?
Yeah, I was looking around for maybe 2 more weeks, and a buddy had sent me some ad that was on Instagram, and it was for this place called Ralph's, and it was kind of a divey burger joint in Dominion Road, and I was like, "Oh, this looks tight," and I could tell the guy that was the owner or whatever, He was like, had a bunch of tattoos. I'm like, oh, me and this guy will get along real well. So I just hit him up. I said, hey, bro, what kind of hours you looking for? He said like 20 hours a week. I was like, perfect, bro, because, you know, I didn't want to work to death. I just want to, I'm in a new place. I want to look around, but I want to earn some money while I'm doing it, you know? So I went there and chopped it up with him for a little bit, and he hired me, and the rest is history.
Yeah, so Ralph's is like a burger place, right?
Yeah, it's a burger joint, and it's a little bit like a dive bar. A lot of people go there just for a burger and fries and a beer. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, why Mexican food? Like, I mean, because that's what the specialty is. Obviously, it's in the name, Broke Boy Taco. But
Yeah.
you could have done anything. It could have been Broke Boy Burgers.
I could have done anything. I mean, you know, it's funny, bro, because I was never like in love with food. Even though I was a chef for like 15 years, I was never like, I'll live and breathe food. Never. You know what I mean? I just did it because I seemed to be good at it, and it made me some money. You know what I mean? But I guess I didn't realize just how much I loved Mexican food and how important Mexican food was to me until I got here and I couldn't find it. You know what I mean? Mexican food was here, but not the type of stuff that I really gravitate towards.
Yeah, bro. Oh, this is probably before your time in New Zealand, but New Zealanders were very, very excited when Taco Bell came here.
Oh, yes.
Like maybe 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Like there were lines outside for a while. I don't know. Maybe it's the pop culture reference because we've seen it in movies and whatnot. But
that makes sense.
It's not great Mexican food though, is it? Taco Bell.
Nah, it's very, you know, Taco Bell is Taco Bell. I've had it here. It tastes the same in America. You know, it's one of them things that you'll eat when you're like hammered. You know what I mean? But it's not like, wow, I really want some Mexican food, so I'm gonna go to Taco Bell. But yeah, I couldn't really find it here, and I could find instances of it, and I was like, this could be way better. And I was in a new place that I wasn't familiar with, and I definitely didn't relate to a lot of the people that I was meeting. And I just wanted like some comfort, you know what I mean? And to me, Mexican food was like very comforting, you know? So, yeah, I didn't even, all of this stuff happened. It fell into my lap almost. I didn't move here and was like, I'm going to create a taco empire. You know, I just moved here for love because, you know, I love my fiance very, very much. She's changed my life. And, I'm just so glad that this has happened so I can change her life and our family's lives.
Fuck yeah, she must be so proud of you because you know
Yeah,
she swiped right.
Yeah.
She took a gamble on you and like she obviously saw like the Sean that's sitting in front of me now. Like she obviously knew that potential was there. She saw it in you, and it's just taken a while for you to, I suppose, realize it or become that person. It's really cool.
Well, I've asked her that, you know, because if you can imagine, you know, when she met me, I was bouncing around in between jobs. You know, I was just drinking and partying and blasting music and really just living day to day. And that was always my motto, you know, because where I'm from, you know, there's a lot of people that aren't alive or they're in prison or, you know, you live a very short life where I'm from. So the name of the game is just to be happy and try to enjoy it as much as you can. And that's really who she met and maybe that was there was something intriguing about that, but she always told me, you know, she tells me now like, oh yeah, I always knew that you would be somebody real big and I always saw that in you. And I was always like, really? And she's like, yeah. So yeah, it's rad.
It's so special.
Yeah.
So you're at Ralph's, then you buy a hot plate from like Briscoe's or Kmart or somewhere.
Yeah. I went on Trade Me.
Trade Me.
So what happened was I made him some tacos, and he goes, bro, you got to quit your job. You got to make these tacos all the time now. And I go, bro, how am I going to do that? I don't have anything. I don't have a place to cook it. I don't know where to start. And he was like, you can cook here. And I was like, for real? And he was like, yeah, so we're closed on Sundays. We'll open up on Sundays. You know, me and Shelly will come in and we'll help you. And anything you earn, you can keep. And I was like, for real? And he was like, yeah, bro. So I did that. And the first time I did it, I think 40 people came. And then the second week I did it, I think 80 people came. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, my boss is talking to me. He's like, you should quit and you should do this full time. And I was like, really? You think so? He's like, yeah. So that's what I did. And I bought a hot plate on Trade Me. And I toted it around to different restaurants. And I just said, hey, bro, are you open on Sunday? And they would go, nope. And I'd go, well, listen, I've got a bit of a following on Instagram and I cook food. Let me bring my hot plate here. I'll cook food and I'll give you 10% of whatever I make. Why not? You know, and they go, okay. And that's how I started doing it. Yeah.
That seems like a big call. Did you meet much resistance? Like a lot of people saying no before you got to yes?
Yeah. There was some people that was like, I don't know who you are. You know what I mean? You're just some kid with a hot plate. You know what I mean?
Post Malone looking motherfucker.
Yeah, everybody would say that. Yeah, and they just be like, no, dude, get away from me, which is tight. You know, I would probably be like, dude, get away. But a couple of them said yes, and then once a couple of them said yes, you know, I just started making videos about what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. You know, I just wanted people to see what I'm doing.
And is that sort of how the word spread, just through social media, just building that community on social?
100%.
Yeah, because I'm intrigued about the steps you took, because I feel like at the point where we're sitting down now, you've already built something special, but I feel like it's just at the beginning stage of what Broke Boy Taco could potentially be. So I'm intrigued about these early steps that have happened in the first few years. Right. So there's the hot plate thing and going to restaurants. And then when does the food truck come along?
Oh, the food truck doesn't come along until December of last year. So quite a long ways after I got my food.
Last year, as in December 2023?
2024.
December 2024?
4 months ago is when I got my food truck.
Shut up.
Yeah. So I had my restaurant before I got my food truck. The only reason we got a food truck is to do private events, and because everybody's always hitting me up going, hey, do you cater for weddings, and can you do this? And I'm just going, I don't know how to do that. I don't have a food truck or a trailer. You know, all I had was like a little plastic table from Bunnings, and then my $200 food hot plate, and that's the only way I could cater to weddings. And I was like, that's not very appropriate. So we built a food truck. Yeah.
But a less driven person would be happy with just doing the Bunnings table and the hot plate. You know, get enough cash working the weekend to get you through the week. Yeah. So, where did that drive come from to take it to the next level?
Well, I just, I guess I've always been kind of larger than life is what people have told me. You know what I mean? I've always, you know, I just do whatever. I've always done what I wanted. And my dream isn't to just have one shop. That's not my dream. And you know, I always wanted a food truck that said Broke Boy Taco on it, and it had it was covered in gold, and it was just lights up, and I just always wanted one, so I just wanted to make one. Yeah.
Man, that's so inspiring. Well, I went to I went into Broke Boy Taco for the first time on the weekend. I've been past it with the intention of going in many times before, but not a huge fan of lines.
Yeah, sure.
Which
me neither.
You understand?
Yeah, me neither.
But I went. So I've got so many observations and questions about it. First of all, the origin of the name.
Yeah,
fairly self-explanatory. Just how you felt.
Yeah, I mean, Broke Boy, so whenever I knew that I had, I've got something to sell, a real yummy taco, I was like, oh, I should make an Instagram, which was inspired. My Instagram was inspired by my buddy. Well, I don't think I've ever said this before, but his name is Cam. He owns a Baby G Burger. And I saw how good he was doing. And I named it... So I was going to name it Taco instead of Tacos, you know what I mean? Because his was Baby G Burger, and I was like, oh, mine should be something taco, but what should that be? And I had talked to a couple of friends of mine, and I was like, they were like, what do you think? I'm like, oh, I was thinking like Hot Boy Taco, because the Hot Boys was my favorite rap group growing up, you know. And they were like, no, I don't know about that. And I was like, and then a buddy of mine was like, name it Rich Boy Taco because you'll get rich off it. And I was like, no, man, I can't relate to that. I was like, I can relate more to being like a broke boy than anything. And he was like, then name it Broke Boy Taco. And I was like, psh. And then I looked on the Instagram, and I typed it in, the username Broke Boy Taco, and it said available. So there you go, Broke boy taco.
Now you got the chain. And
now I got the chain, yeah.
So, why red and white? So that's the first thing that strikes me about your store. You go in there, it's very clean, very crisp looking, white, with little red trimming and red aprons on the staff.
And gold. We've got gold around the frames and stuff. Well, gold just because it's opposite of what being broke is, right? It's like if you got gold, you probably got some money. So for me, like, you know, I don't know. Gold to me always seemed like the most unobtainable thing. So that's another thing that I just became obsessed with.
Right, like an aspiration. Sort of.
Yeah, I mean, the people that I looked up to growing up, they weren't wearing suits and ties. They were the people that I was looking up to growing up was wearing gold chains and gold teeth, and those are the people that was doing real well in my neighborhood. So I aspired to be like that. So that's why, you know, I wear gold chains and stuff now because that's what I saw when I was a kid. That's what success was when I was a kid. But red and white because I've done a lot of like obsessing over fast food in general. I think fast food it's one of those weird things like that taps into the human condition of like, you know, draws you in and it kind of, you don't realize what it's doing. You know what I mean? Like just the color combinations and stuff like that, you don't really realize. It's like making you hungry. It's making you stay there. Like I always have been real fascinated by that. But I guess the short is that I've always liked red. Red has been my favorite color. You know, I'm from Louisville, Louisville Cardinals, you know, they're red and the Louisville basketball team's jerseys are red. Like, you know, it's just been red is like what you see when you're in Louisville. You just see red. So I've always really fucked with red. Yeah.
Because I feel like you're just a guy that's making this shit up as you go along, but I feel like you know, marketing students years from now might be studying the things that you've done. Yeah. And you're potentially overthinking it, whereas you've just like done what feels right.
I think that's what is important. I think that's what's important. And you don't want to be corny. You just want to be authentic and you want to keep it a buck. If it's good food, it's good food. You know, I don't need to, you know, do all this other crazy shit. And just I want to draw you in so you can try the food. The hardest part about having a restaurant is bringing the customers in. It's real easy to make good food, but to get people there and to get people eating it is the tough part. If you can do that, you win the lotto.
Yeah. And why? So the drinks you have, it's Coca-Cola, which I love Coke Zero. Yeah. I probably drink more Coke than Donald Trump.
Yeah, there you go.
So you have Coke, frozen margaritas, and a beer option. A broke boy beer option. But why? And another thing that struck me about the Coke, it was $3 a can, which is really most cafes you go to around Auckland, it's like $7 for a bougie glass bottle. Yeah. Why only Coke? Why not other Coke range like Sprite, Fanta?
Well, it's real simple, right? Coke is my favorite drink, and I'm the part of Broke Boy, part of my brand, and what I really enjoy and what I think makes it unique is that I only serve one option. I serve birria. You know, if you want a chicken taco or you want a veggie taco, I don't have that. There's a taco shop up the road. Perfect, no problem. If you want a fish taco, hit up Toco's. Great, amazing, best fish tacos in Auckland. And support local. But if you do want a beef taco, you should probably always come to me because I do it the best. It's all I do, and it's my stamp. I stamp that. You know what I mean? It's the same with Coca-Cola. I only offer one option because I think that's the best. You might not have the same opinion, but I think a Coke Zero is the best drink. I think you know, a margarita. We only offer one frozen margarita. We don't offer like a strawberry one and a mango one. We only offer the classic lime because I think that's the best one. You know, one thing that always drove me nuts about going to restaurants that people have recommended me is I get the menu and it's got 20, 30, 40 things on it. I don't know where to look. I just want somebody to tell me what the best is so I can eat it. That's it.
You would suffer anxiety at the Cheesecake Factory, right?
Yeah,
that menu's like 100 pages long.
It looks like I'm looking at like alien transcript. I just want to cut maybe 2-3 options would be perfect, bro. And I think that's what people should do, and that's why I only offer one beer. I don't offer Corona or Pacifico. I offer one because if you want a beer, get the beer.
Also, Coke fits into your colour scheme. Yeah, back to red being your favourite colour. But why? The Coke's not even visible. Like, surely you could get money from Coca-Cola to have a fridge on display or some Coke signage or whatever.
Yeah,
but
we can.
Why have you turned that down? Aesthetics.
Yeah, I think it's important the way that a place looks. I think it's important. I want it to be. It's funny, man, because everybody's always like, you got all this money in the budget to make, like, why don't we do this? Why don't we put gold here? And why don't we put, like, this over here? And we could put the Coke sign over here. I think less is more. I'm a real, I really do. I'm a big believer in less is more. If everything else could be just white and wood, that would be perfect, because when I hand you the food, or when you get your food, your eyes shouldn't be focused on, well, the Coke machine and the your eyes should be focused on the food. That everything all the way down to the paper on the plate being like bright yellow. I've thought about that a million times. And whenever this is a good segue into this. Whenever I was wanting to start up my own thing, it's big in LA and California. If you go somewhere that's kind of like made by mom and pops, they hand you the food in yellow wax paper, and they do that because the yellow wax paper is the cheapest, right? So to me, that was really important, getting it in yellow wax paper. I don't know why, but if I had food in yellow wax paper, I was like, oh, this is like homemade. That's what it did to me. It made me think of it before I even figured it out. But I could get white wax paper from Gilmore's for $30. Or I could order yellow wax paper from America, and it was $600. So that yellow wax paper was that important to me when I was trying to figure this out, that I said, I'll spend a bunch of money on that, because it's important to me that my tacos are served on yellow wax paper for that reason. There's just things like that people were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, just trust me. It's real important that this, I want it to be, if you're walking up the road with a plate and it's got a yellow piece of paper on it, everybody knows what that is without even seeing what's on the plate. Oh, that's Broke Boy. He must have Broke Boy. That's important to me.
As you've got further along the journey, and I suppose there's more people offering their opinions and stuff. Has it been harder to stick to your vision and stick to what's right? Or
of course, yeah. As I get bigger and when I originally started, I was cooking veggie tacos and mushroom tacos and chicken tacos, and that was because people had told me, yeah, we really, I would love a mushroom taco, and I would go, okay, without really thinking about it. And one day I woke up and I just go, man, I'm sick of it. I don't care about veggie tacos. I don't care about chicken tacos. All I care about and all I can think about is birria. That's all I can think about. And I told my girl, I'm only going to do one thing. I'm only going to do birria. And she was like, don't do that. Like, you're not going to have any customers anymore. You're going to alienate people. People are going to be upset, pissed off. And I go, yeah, I don't care. And then I talked to other people about it, people that were in the industry, and they go, yeah, you shouldn't do that. Every single person I talk to goes, no, you should not only serve one thing. That's stupid. And I go, well, I don't care. I'm only going to serve one thing, because that's what it should be. You should serve what you care about. It shouldn't be just to make money. It should be because it's art. You know what I mean? There's nothing better to me than seeing somebody eat my food and like smile about it and enjoy it. There's no better feeling, and that's real important to me. So.
Yeah, it's crazy though. So what you've done is sort of it defies common sense, but it's worked.
Yeah,
it's worked way better than what.
Yeah.
So so you wouldn't be prepared to like do a coriander-free version for people like me?
Oh yeah. People look. You can get for a long time I was like, nope, it has to have coriander, it has to have onion. I've always said that, but now you can for sure, because I'm running a business and all that, you can for sure get no coriander or no onion. You just have to tell them when you order it.
And do you have goals now? Are you just sort of still following your nose, or have you got like a 5-year plan, 10-year plan?
I mean, we've talked about all that, you know what I mean? But I don't know how to plan in 5 years. You know what I mean? I grew up just doing it day by day, but we'll see. I mean, obviously we've got some sort of plan. You know, we just want to open as many Broke Boy tacos as we can. I want to share my love of birria with all of New Zealand, and I just want to make good food, and hopefully people think it tastes good, and that's it.
And what are the options on the table? I don't know if you're this far along or not. Like, will you own all the stores, or will you franchise them out?
No, yeah. So we'll do both.
Yeah,
we'll do both. So we'll have some stores that are owned by the business, and then in the future, I've had a lot of people message me, people from Japan, people from Germany, people from America, everywhere, be like, can we franchise? Which is crazy as hell. But we're gonna do that. I don't know if we're gonna be in Germany, you know what I mean? But yeah, we'll definitely tap into that. I would love for some people to make some people successful. That would be a great feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I put on Instagram that you're coming in for a chat and asked if anyone had any questions. And to be honest, there was very little useful stuff there. It was mainly just people saying, ask him when he's coming to insert place name here, Wellington, Hamilton, Christchurch, which is it's a lot of pressure. But, you know, as Israel Adesanya says, pressure is a privilege.
Yeah. I would agree with him.
Yeah. So how did that partnership come about with the Adesanyas?
So it originally started as Izzy and David showed up to one of my pop-ups, and I immediately ran up and got a picture with Izzy. I was like, no way. And that night, I swear to God, I'm not even tripping, I could not sleep. I was laying in bed, and I was talking to my girl, and I was like, do you realize, like, he wouldn't have just, like, been walking around and been like, oh, let me come in here. He follows me, or he knows about me, and he must have showed up because I was there. Like, do you realize that? And she was like, yes. Like, shut up. It's fine. And I was just tripping. I was like, oh, my God. Like, Israel Adesanya showed up. And then he showed up a couple months later to my new one, and he was just standing in line, and then he started showing up more and more, and then I just go, he would show up early and be like, hey, bro, can I just get like this, and that so I can leave so I don't have to stand there? And I was like, bro, why don't you just like DM me on Instagram and just tell me what you want? So by the time you get here, it's already ready to go, you know? And he goes, just give me your phone. And then he put his number in my phone, and I was tripping, and I was like, what? What are you doing, dude? And then, he texted me, and he just put in some orders. Whenever I opened my shop, or actually before that, he had texted me one day and was like, hey, bro, do you want to come over to my house and watch UFC with me? And I was like, what? I was like, hell yeah. Yes, I do, as a matter of fact. So I showed up, and I dapped him up. What's up, man? You know, I was sweating and stuff. And then I met all his friends and stuff, and I was like, hey, bro. I was like shaking and shit. Hey, man, how are you, sir? And it was cool. I just watched UFC with him and chopped it up with him. He's just like a normal dude too, you know. But David ended up showing up one day to my restaurant, and
this is Izzy's brother.
This is Izzy's brother. Yeah, big shout out, David, man. I think without David, I don't know if we would be doing this. But he showed up, and he was just like, bro, like, you're killing it. Like, you know, well, what's going on? What's your plans? And I told him, like, well, my dream is to have a bunch of them, bro. Bunch. Like, when you're driving around, you can just see a big sign, you know, like Burger King sign, but it's Broke Boy sign. Like, that's my dream. And he was like, word, well, would you be interested in, like, an investor? And I was like, yeah, bro. I had a couple investors, a couple bankers and stuff approach me and shit before, but I was always just like, nah, man, I don't, like, I was scared of that because I don't want somebody coming in and being like, no, you got to do this now. You got to put a chicken one on, and you got to do this, and you can't say this. I was just not interested, and but they came on and we shared a vision, and they really understood my vision, and they were like, bro, you're gonna do this, you're gonna kill it, and you will achieve your dreams. And I was like, you think so? And they're like, bro, yes, we can back you, trust me. And we talked, and then we came to an agreement or whatever, and dapped him up and shook hands, and it's almost like I felt like I was like part of their family, man, and the Adesanyas, all of their family, such sweet people, man, just the nicest people on the planet, and people I can really relate to. They came from maybe a rougher upbringing than most, and they got to where they're at, and that's the dream, and that's what I want to be. I aspire to be that. So, I really respect them and their whole family, and just it just felt amazing. Yeah.
So I'm intrigued about this stuff because the studio that we're sitting in now and the office next door, that's a business that I've just started like 5-6 months ago. And there's been some people that have offered to invest and buy in, and we've turned it down to up until this point because it's like, well, I haven't actually built anything worth value yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it sort of terrifies me a bit. So what was the expectation from the Adesanyas? And in terms of a return on their investment?
Well, they weren't really focused as much on that as much as they were like, David keep it real with me. He just said, look, bro, if we were coming into this for money, we would, invest in property again, or we would go somewhere else with our portfolio. We're not in this because we want millions of dollars. Like, we were in it because we see your vision, and we don't think that it's something like this has happened before in New Zealand. There's never been some like famous chef in New Zealand, like, you know what I mean, that came from the middle of nowhere and just started cooking. Like, I'm a white guy from Kentucky cooking Mexican food in New Zealand. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And I think that's why a lot of people, I just have a crazy story and I've got a good product to back it. And they were just like, we're in it because we believe in you, and we want to help you.
Yeah, and I think it's just the organicness and the authenticness of the story. Like every brand that grows wants a backstory. They all want that story. Like, I started with a hot plate, and a lot of the time it feels kind of disingenuous. But this is actually how this happened.
Yep.
So what's been the biggest business lessons so far? Like anything that springs to mind?
Yeah. So I bought this Ivario.
What's that?
It's a big giant pressure cooker essentially, and I paid cash for it, and it was expensive as hell. It was like $60,000, and I was like, so the plan is we can cook, we can constantly turn over every hour and a half. We can turn over like 100 liters of beer, doom, so we can keep up with production, and we can stop selling out. Well, it doesn't exactly go like that because when you cook all that, you have to cool it down rapidly, which you have to have some sort of station for. And then once you cool it down rapidly, you have to have a bunch of fridge space to do it. And then once you reheat it, you have to get these 100-liter pots and reheat it. It's not just as easy as you just cook more. You know what I mean? And now we've kind of pivoted in a way where we're going to cook everything somewhere else. So whenever we do open more shops, there's a central place where I can walk in and I can taste it before it goes out. So I don't have to go to all these other shops and taste it. Okay, well, Greg made it today. What does Greg's taste like? Well, what does David's taste like? It's all cooked at the same place by one person, and that's how we really do quality control. Because one of the problems we've had recently is consistency. Because sometimes, the guajillo peppers is real big ingredient in the recipe, and sometimes our supplier would be out of it, so we would sub that for a different pepper, and it would taste completely different. It's stuff like that. And if Matt made it one day, it would taste different from how Alec made it for some reason, even though they were using the same recipe. So this way we can all cook it all in one place. We can vacuum seal it, and then we could ship it to the new locations. And all they got to do is open the bags and heat it up, and then it's good to go right there. So you really have to scale everything up, and that's what I'm learning about business. It's not just as easy as just showing up and cooking it, you know.
Yeah, there's no way to fast track those lessons, though. You have to sort of live them.
Yeah, I mean, somebody can tell it to you, right? But you can either take their opinion like it's gospel, or you can take it with a grain of salt, or you can go, well, hold on a minute, let me test that, and which is probably the best thing to do, because if you don't, you'll never know. So you got to learn these hard lessons. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good to hear about that quality control in regards to the taste, because you can have all the hype in the world, but if it tastes like shit, people aren't coming back.
People know.
Yeah,
people know. If you know, you paint a picture on the internet and then you see it in person and it looks completely different, people won't give a shit. You know, and it's important to me that it is my recipe and it's the same and it tastes the same and it's very consistent and it's served the way it's supposed to serve, and the tortillas are super crispy the way they should be. Everything we do one thing. If it's not perfect, I'm not serving it. You know.
Has this whole journey been like really, really good for your, you know, self-esteem, self-worth, self-belief?
Not really, because I've always been, I've always been cocky, and I've always been like, you know, like I've always hyped myself up and really believed in myself, and I don't know. I've just always felt like that's one reason why I'm not in Kentucky. I'm not still in Kentucky, even though 90% of people from Kentucky stay there. It's because growing up there, I always felt like there's something more. There's got to be something more than just living in a trailer with, you know, having 5 kids when I was 18, and you know, there's something more. So I've always believed that deep down that I would be, you know, I guess somebody. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's the best and worst things about owning your own successful business? Just dealing with unreliable staff? Is that...
No, I don't think that's the worst thing. No, I would say, I mean, everybody thinks I'm balling out of control, man. Everybody thinks I'm a fucking millionaire. I would say the worst part is that I work nonstop every single second of the day, but I just get paid like a regular employee. You know what I mean? I just, you know.
Oh, you just give yourself a salary.
I just give myself a salary. I don't see bonuses. I don't take anything from the business. Every profit that we make gets put back into the business, you know, because I've got big dreams and I want to blow it up. So, yeah, I mean, I don't have any assets. I don't have a house. I have a car that I bought when I was 35.
A 2000 BMW.
Yes. Yes, I bought it.
Purchase price $6,000.
$6,000. Yes.
I got you.
My first car I've ever owned when I was 35. And that's the only asset I have, but you know, I'm happy with that. I've lived my whole life like this, so I ain't tripping, but it's funny when everybody thinks you know, oh my God, you're so successful. You know, you must have this and that. I ain't got nothing. You know, and I'm fine with that.
Oh, you do though, but it's tied up in a business.
Yeah, I guess you could look at it like that.
Like you're building you like a very good asset base.
Yeah, I've got yeah. I mean, I own obviously a lot of shares in the company, but this is the first time that I've ever done anything like this. So everybody that I've talked to, you know, this is the worst time in history to own a restaurant. It's the worst time in history. And so obviously it's a bit of a risk, but I always back myself. I always believe in myself. So it is what it is.
Yeah, percentage-wise, how much has been luck and how much has been hard work?
That's a great question. Because I've worked hard all my life and seen nothing. You know what I mean? So I think I'd say luck. I'd say it takes a lot of luck. Yeah, it's a roll of the dice. I really feel like I've won the lottery, and but then again, I work 16 hours every single day. But you know, there's a lot of people that work more than me, and they make, you know, $10 a day. So, yeah, I don't know what it is. I don't know why this has happened. Yeah.
So, what would your sell price be? I know you're not motivated by money, but say some investment banker came along with a checkbook. I don't know why no one's got a checkbook anymore, but you know what I mean. Or a briefcase of money. What would it be? Someone says, "We love what you've done. We want to scale it up. We want the whole brand." What would it be? 5 mil, 10 mil,
No,
20?
hell no. Yeah, I don't know.
You must have thought about this.
Of course, I think about it all the time, right? Because I'm like, I live in a 1-bedroom apartment. And I was like, dang, what would I get? That's a good question, man. I would probably say, like, see, what's funny is I'll tell you a number, but then somebody comes along with a little bit less than that and shows it to me, and I'd go, okay. So I don't really know. I think, like, maybe 20 amps. Give me 20 amps and we're good.
Manifest it, baby.
Yeah,
Manifest
20
it.
amps.
Wow. That's cool. I don't know. I feel like, if push came to shove, even if someone came with 20 M's, maybe you'd realise it's your baby and it's not about the money.
Nah, I'd take a 20.
You could start again, right? Something else?
We'll do something else. Yeah. You know what's funny, man, is because I'm from Kentucky and I really grew up on like mac and cheese, cornbread, collard greens, and I know how to make all that. I know how to make it all, and I love wearing overalls with no shirt on. You know what I mean? So I'm real redneck with it. And I make some catfish. And collard greens, but I just happen to be doing tacos because it tastes real yum. I mean, I love them, and I'm still obsessed over them.
Oh my God! If you got into mac and cheese,
yeah, I'll make some good mac and cheese. I make some good mac and cheese.
We'll get into your childhood in a second. But what would your mum? She's no longer around. What would she make of all this?
Oh yeah, man. She'd be tripping. Yeah, she'd be tripping. Yeah, that's one of that's one thing that keeps me up at night. I guess is that my mom will never know. She'll never know I made it.
Yeah, so you really is. So I haven't heard much about your dad. Did you have a relationship with your dad or not so much?
No, not really.
No.
He passed away pretty early on. Yeah.
And your mum, she battled with that, like drugs and prescription drugs.
Yeah.
And alcohol?
No,
right.
She never drank. I never saw her drink a day in her life.
Right. And she told you not to drink, and that's the reason you didn't drink until
yeah. She told me not to drink, and it's a bit of a touchy subject, to be honest, but yes, I kept that promise with her. I never drank until she had passed away. She said, "As long as I'm alive, I don't want to see you drink."
Yeah, and that was in 2010, and she was 44 years old, which, fuck, it's so young to die.
She was 44, man.
How old were you? How old were you in 2010?
I don't know.
Like 22.
21, 22.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, we had her funeral I think it was either on my birthday or a couple of days before my birthday. I remember because I made a fucking joke at her funeral, and I was like, my birthday's coming up. I want a PS4 or some stupid shit. And everybody was laughing. But that's how my mom was, man. My mom in tragedy, she would make jokes and laugh, and it was real important that we stay positive, and we grew up. She was working, she worked at Subway, and she worked, she sold a bunch of clothes on eBay. We would go to we would wake up every morning, Saturday morning at like 9 a.m. and run to them garage sales and yard sales, and we would find stuff. Then she would sell it on eBay, and that's how we made ends meet. But she got in a car crash when she was younger. I'm not sure which age, maybe 19, 20 or something. And she hurt her back, and then the doctor prescribed her, I think, Oxycontin or something, and she got addicted to him, apparently.
Is that what they? I don't mean to be offensive in any way.
No, yeah.
But is that what they call hillbilly heroin?
Probably.
Yeah.
Hell
right,
yeah.
Right. And she was prescribed like 300 pills a month or something. I read.
Yeah. At the end there, she was, she was getting prescribed. I didn't know any of this. Until it was too late, because was just off doing my own thing. You know, I didn't want to be around my house a lot because there wasn't a lot of good. You know what I mean? So I would be out in the streets. I would be hanging out with people, and then I would come home at like 9, 10 p.m. when I was a teenager, even when I was 12. When I was 12 years old, man, I was running around smoking cigarettes and getting in fights and just being buck wild. And I just didn't want to be at home. Home was real depressing to me, man. We didn't have any food.
Who was there?
Who was where? At home?
Just your mom?
Oh, yeah, my mom, my stepdad, my sister, yeah, my little brother. But I just didn't want, like, that's why I call my sister sometimes, and I'm just like, well, you know, I ask her questions. I'm like, did this happen? And where was you at? Because I was never around, you know, I was never around. It was real hurtful to see some of the shit at my house. So I didn't want to be around. I wanted to be out. The streets were better. The streets were better. It was easier for me to run around in the streets and make my own meals and you know, steal donuts from fucking Kroger to eat than it was to be at home. Yeah, it just was easier.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was normal. I'm a kid, you know what I mean? So I thought it was normal to have that type of lifestyle because that's the only one I knew. So I was just like, oh, everybody must be doing this, you know what I mean? And I didn't really realize it until I grew up. That I was like, oh, damn, some of the shit I saw growing up as a kid was probably not a lot of people saw shit like that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, how do you, like, you're at that age and stage of life now where, I don't know, maybe you'll become a father and have kids of your own. So, yeah. How do you feel when you reflect on your childhood now? Like, does it make you feel sad? Or?
Yeah, man, it makes me hella sad, bro. Yeah, it makes me hella sad. You know, sometimes when I was getting sober, bro, I had to, you know, everybody's got demons, you know what I mean? And obviously with drugs and alcohol, I think one of the things that people do is they try to self-medicate and get through all that shit they went through with that because drugs and alcohol make you happy, make you feel good. And whenever you don't have that, you really have to confront those things head on, and you have to deal with them head on. And yeah, a lot of days, man, I would wake up in the middle of the night having nightmares over and over and over, and then I would, you know, catch myself just brushing my teeth or something and just fucking start crying for no reason and just thinking about some of the shit. Yeah, pretty messed up. But you know, you have to get to a point where you have to kind of like be like, you know, you are not your past. You know what I'm saying? You are, that stuff doesn't have to control you, and you didn't have much to say in the matter. You know, you get dealt these cards, and you got to play them. And it is what it is. There's people out there that had it worse off than me. A lot of people had it worse off than me. So, you know, just be happy to where you are and that you made it, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you dream of being when you were little?
I dreamt of being alive when I was a kid, man. Straight up. I dreamt of having braces one day because that seemed really unobtainable. My mom would always go, well, my mom would tell me, she would go, braces are like $1,000. At what point in life are we going to have $1,000 to spare? And I was like, yeah, true. You know, true. We'll always need $1,000. We'll need it for rent, or we'll need it for food, or we'll need it, you know, for gas. So I was like, it was a dream of mine, a real dream of mine, to have straight teeth. You know what I mean? And, you know, when I was young, when I was 13, 14, 15, I would always be like, I would literally think about, like, what would it be like being 30 years old? And I would always be like, I'm not going to make it to 30. 30's old, bro. 30 is old where I'm from. Seriously, I would say that. Yeah, I would be like, hell no, 30, that's an old man. And, yeah, just, that's, I never really was like, oh, maybe one day I'll be a millionaire. You know what I mean?
In New Zealand.
In fucking New Zealand. Yeah. I didn't even know where New Zealand was. Whenever I met my girl and she was like, oh, yeah, I'm from New Zealand, I was like, I was like, oh, yeah, hell yeah. I always wanted to go to Europe. Hell yeah. And
You thought it was in Europe.
She was like, what? What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, that's like most Americans, though, eh? Like, most Americans don't do a lot of travel.
Nah, most Americans don't know where fucking Wyoming is. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
So, you didn't, you didn't drink until your mum started. Why did you start drinking? Was it to cope with the passing of your mum? Or?
No, I don't think so. It's just that it was something that I'd never done before, and I was obviously a chef and a cook, and everyone around me drank, and I was always like, nah, I don't want to drink. I'm not. It made me feel cool that I was the only one that wouldn't drink, and then I was just hanging out one night, and somebody was like, bro, you want a beer? And I was just like, yeah, I'll take a beer. Yeah, just want a beer. Just want to see what all the fuss was about, I guess, yeah.
And what sort of, what was your drug of choice? What were you into?
Coke. Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, pretty much, yeah, pills. I would crush up pills and snort them and shit. I mean, just anything that make you feel good, man. Anything that makes you feel good. I smoked weed when I was like, I started smoking weed when I think I was 12. And then I smoked weed from 12 till like maybe 20. And I never really liked weed. It always made me like, I don't know if it made me nervous, but it definitely made me like anxiety. Like it would just, I would just be like, oh, why am I fucking smoking this shit?
Oh, paranoia.
Yeah, it would just make me paranoid and make me like, I don't want to talk to anyone. It would do the opposite of what it did for some people. You know, there's a lot like Bob Marley and shit. He smokes and he's chill and just wants to talk and hang out. I mean, it did not make me want to do that. It made me want to fucking just be like, leave me alone, man. You know, I'm in the corner looking around, and it just made me paranoid. I never, but anything that was an upper, and made me move and want to dance and party, like, yeah, it made me feel good.
Yes, that's a bit of an escapism from your reality, I guess. But then on the downside, then you know. Yeah. You're depressed as fuck the next morning.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're actually worse than where you were in the start. Yeah. That's like a cycle that keeps on going.
Yeah, I call it borrowing happiness from tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's what I would do.
So you moved from Kentucky to San Francisco for love. So was it a girl in San Francisco or a girl from Kentucky?
There was a girl in SF. Yeah, there was a girl in SF. I mean, I moved there.
Because that's a big move, eh? What is it, like a 4-hour flight, 5-hour flight?
Yeah, it's like a 4-hour flight, yeah. I had been there a couple times. I mean, I just wanted to, I wasn't doing nothing in Kentucky. There's nothing to do there. There's nowhere to work. You know what I mean? I was working at Walmart. I was a cash register at Walmart, you know what I mean? And it was depressing as hell. And then before that, I was making like $8 an hour in 2010. And then before that, I was like building like wooden doors in a door factory, like pressing the machine. And yeah, I wasn't doing much. And I just wanted to do something. And yeah, San Francisco was a play. Yeah.
But it seems like it wasn't great there though. For 7 years, 7 years on and off, you were like couch surfing or sleeping rough, living rough.
Yeah. So yeah, I had moved there. I moved in with this chick, and then she ended up cheating on me, and I ended up dipping. And I was working at Whole Foods at the time, and then this dude at Whole Foods who I worked with, I was like, hey bro, like do you mind like let me sleep on your couch just for like a couple months before I save up some money and get my own apartment? And he was like, oh yeah, hell yeah. So he was like, oh, I'll just charge you $600 a month for sleeping on the couch or whatever. I was like, that's chill, bro. I'll take it. So I ended up doing that for like a couple years, just because it was like, why would I? You know what I mean? This is fine. I mean, I don't need anything really. So, and then we got evicted, because we would just drink and act up and go nuts. So they got evicted from there, and once they got evicted from there, I was homeless for like 3 months, and a buddy of mine who was also like sleeping rough in and out. There was this hotel in North Beach that they charge by the day, like $25-$30 a day, but everyone in there is junkies. Everyone in there is junkies, and it's like a communal bathroom on one floor, and then like the shower, you got to wear slippers, or you got to wear, like, you know, what do you call them?
Jandals.
Jandals. You got to wear jandals up in there like you're in jail and all that. And yeah, man, it was just we slept there some days. Some days I, you know, would drink so much that I wouldn't even remember where I'm at, and I would sleep on the ground or I would sleep on the bench. You know what I mean? But yeah, brief moments of that. Sometimes people ask me, they're like, "Oh my God, you were homeless for years," and I'm like, "No. You know, I experienced brief moments of that, but I mean, in the sense where you say I don't have a home to go to, I guess you could say that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. What are your observations of how people treated you during that time? Like, were people mostly kind to you, or did people sort of look down upon you?
People didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
people don't give a fuck. There's so many homeless people in SF, bro, and everybody's battling to get that buck. You know what I mean? And San Francisco's open drug laws and shit. People just walking around smoking bubbles and smoking crack. You know, it is what it is, and nobody cares. Cops don't care. You know, so that's how people see. It's weird as hell. San Francisco's the one place that you can have a $2 million house, and then walk outside and on your front porch somebody's smoking crack, and there's not. You know what I mean? It's just like, what the fuck? What's going on here? But there's just a big giant divide, man. A big divide of wealth, and nobody seems to give a shit. It is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if this is. I think I read this somewhere, but I don't know if this is true. Or it may have been in a Malcolm Gladwell book. But when Rudy Giuliani was mayor of New York, and there was a massive homeless problem there, I don't think it gave a lot of the homeless people in New York like a one-way ticket to San Fran.
I bet.
So like transferred the problem from one side of the states to the other.
That's what they do. That's what they do, man. Yeah. All of them, you know.
I suppose winters are a bit kinder in San Fran if you're going to be sleeping rough, I guess.
Yeah, the thing about it is there's a lot of programs in San Francisco and in California that help people with assistance and government aid, and they're real lenient about, you know, food stamps and all that. So it's very, very liberal, and there's a lot of people that get help. But obviously the bad thing is that people tend to take advantage of that type of shit. Yeah.
So it was during this sort of time that you were swiped on Tinder and you met Lisa, your New Zealand girlfriend.
Amy,
sorry.
Yeah.
Amy, yeah. And yeah. Have you reflected on that time with her? Like what did she see in you?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm handsome, attractive, you know. Nah.
She must have seen, like we sort of touched upon this earlier, like some potential in you that you hadn't yet seen in yourself.
Yeah, probably.
Like long-term potential.
Probably. I mean,
beyond those devilish good looks.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I don't know. I was, you know, and I still am madly in love with her. You know, I don't think I'd ever met somebody from New Zealand either. You know what I mean? And she just seems from another planet to me. And I think she was just so kind. You know, I don't think I've met anyone as kind and as caring and as genuine, you know, and she didn't care that I didn't have a bunch of money, and she didn't care that, you know, I didn't have a car and I was driving around, and she genuinely didn't care. She just loved me and cared about me for the person that I am, and I don't think I'd ever in my life met somebody like that. She swears up and down, I always know. I've always known you. This isn't anything surprising to me. I always known, you know, and I have to believe her, you know.
Do you think in some ways she sort of like filled the void in you that was missing from your family?
Bro.
Yeah,
100%. I had nobody, you know. I didn't know anybody. All of my friends were people I just got into trouble with, and you know, indulged with. I didn't have any family in California. You know, I never really got along with my family. I didn't see eye to eye with my family. I've always really felt like pretty alone, you know what I mean? And not in a sad or depressing way, but just I've just always felt like I've been on my own my whole life. And she's the one person that I met that I swear to God, I really didn't feel alone no more. Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, that's so cool. That's
It's
so
tight.
cool.
Yeah.
Does she know this stuff, or will she just be hearing this for the first time? Are you good at communicating?
She has no idea. She thinks I just think she's hot. Yeah, she has
So she'll
no
be hearing
idea.
this on the podcast. This is really powerful stuff. So So you met her, and at that point you thought New Zealand was part of Europe. So what were the big surprises and first impressions when you got here? Were you alarmed at how low the water level is in the toilet?
No, I wasn't alarmed by that.
It's very high in the States, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very high. No, actually, I was alarmed by that. I swear to God, I was. I was like, what the? And I still have a chip on my shoulder about that. I'm like, fill it up, man. Fill up the bowl.
But what about when you go to the mall here and you use the toilet? It's nice to not have a crack in the door.
That is not. Well, no, I kind of like it. I like a little company every now and then.
Just an eyeball peering in.
Yeah, see what's going on out there.
Yeah, for anyone that hasn't been to the States, there's massive like cracks in the door of the loo. Yeah. But also pros and cons. They also have the toilet seat covers in the States that they dispense quite liberally.
Yeah, yep. The water levels are nice and good.
What about slang? New Zealand slang? Like, did you find it hard to get your head around that?
Yeah, I mean, the All Blacks was a weird one. I was like, you call them the what? Excuse me? I don't think I can say that. Yeah, a little different from America.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Like, I just said it right there. Yeah. I'll be saying that. I always say, like, I'll be talking on the phone with my brother, and I'll be like, oh, it's pretty cold over there, eh? And he'll be like, hey, are you Canadian now? And I'm like, oh, shit, sorry. But, yeah. Nah, I fuck with the slang. I fuck with the slang.
Yeah. What about the exchange rate? When you got here, you must have felt rich. You must have felt cashed up for a minute.
Bro, I came here with nothing. Okay. I came here with nothing. My girl had all the money. I came here with nothing.
I suppose if you're transferring nothing to nothing, it still equals
it's still nothing.
Yeah. What about the tipping thing? Tipping is massive part of the US culture.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, what did you think about that when you came here, especially being with your background in hospitality?
I loved it, to be honest, because just pay people a normal wage, man. You ain't got to be tipping, and it's not up to the person. It's not up to the person to split the difference. If you hire somebody, pay them a wage. You know, it doesn't. I still don't understand tipping. I know. I know. I looked it up, and apparently it was in the Prohibition days. They introduced tipping to be able to. I don't fucking know. I'm not gonna just bullshit. I don't know. Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either because it's not like the meals are particularly cheap in the States. So you're paying a normal price for a meal, and then it's like someone's taking that money and not paying the staff what they're worth.
Yeah. Well, they're paying them like $2 an hour, $1 an hour, which is like, I guess federally that came into play during Prohibition, so or some Great Depression or something, so people could hire people. But it's like this isn't the fucking 30s no more. You know what I mean?
What about things that New Zealand does better and worse than the States?
Better. I mean, That's a really. I know that there's a lot that you guys do better, but that's such a like putting me on the spot. Yeah, I don't know. Everybody, I just know everybody's nicer here, man. Everybody's so damn sweet. Even the like scary gangsters, you know, that are got tats all over their face and shit, are super fucking nice people. You know what I mean? And then in America, the fucking guy with the suit on is a fucking asshole. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, everybody's real sweet here, and everybody is just. I feel like everybody's just real happy to be a Kiwi. You know, in America, you got people that are like extremists on both ends that are like, I'm fucking American, and you can't tell me otherwise. And if you don't like the Fifth Amendment, get the fuck out of my country. And then there's people that are like, I hate it here. I don't want to be American. Like everybody just really seems to be, but real prideful to be a Kiwi, and it's fucking rad because it's a great place with great people, and I don't ever want to leave.
Oh, we don't want you to leave either.
Yeah, apparently, which is good. Thank you.
Yeah, we give you permission to leave to set up that store in Germany or wherever.
Yeah.
What about your siblings? Have they been over to see what you've created here?
My little brother, I flew my little brother out. My little brother, he
In the broke boy private plane?
nah, hell no. No, it was his first time flying ever. It was his first time flying ever, and I was real proud of him. He's got real he's autistic. He's pretty deep on the spectrum autistic, and you know, he walks everywhere on his tiptoes, and you know, he won't look you in the eye when he's talking to you. But he's a sweet kid, and it was real awesome to see him. It's kind of weird because I'm not close with any of my family really. I mean, and that's probably because of the way that we was raised or whatever. But I still try to keep in touch and talk to them on the phone every now and then, and they're obviously real happy for me, and they think it's crazy what's happening. Yeah, they think it's crazy.
It is crazy, but it's well deserved. Oh, what about a thing called tall poppy syndrome? Have you heard of tall poppy syndrome?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with that? Is that a thing in the States? It might have a different name. I think I've heard it in the States called like crabs in a barrel or crabs in a bucket.
I heard it in the States called being a fucking hater. You know what I mean? People are haters. No, yeah, look, everybody just wants it to happen to them. I get it. You know, I would be, back when I was flipping burgers or making $7 an hour, I'd see somebody be like, oh my God, I can't believe him, you know. And I'd be like, man, fuck that dude, man. Like, damn. I get it. But I think everybody wants to be successful. We all want the same things in life, man. We just want to find love. We want to be loved. We want to be happy, and we don't want to have to worry about bills and worry about having to eat if we're hungry, and we just want to take care of our families, and we all want the same thing. So that whole tall poppy syndrome, I don't think I've never been a victim of it. I know other people in New Zealand have said, you know, like, you know, everybody tries to chop each other down, and I haven't been a victim of that. People are always like, bro, people tell me, they're like, bro, do you realize how famous you are? And I'm like, no, I just make videos and I make food. I mean, maybe I don't get it because I do it before anybody else can do it. You know, nobody's more shocked than me about what's going on.
Will you ever become a resident? Do you...
I got my permanent residency.
Really?
I got my permanent residency.
You're a Kiwi?
I'm a Kiwi. Hey. Yes, sir. I'm so excited.
What did you have to do to get that? Do you have to sit a test or?
No, I think for the citizenship, I think you might have to do a test, which I'm down for, and I will ace it when it happens. But for the residency, I think you just there's some criteria you got to meet, and obviously I think I'm a big pillar in the community, and I just want everybody to be successful and everybody to be happy and treat each other with respect, and you know, because we all in this together. We all in this together. If one person's saying, "Oh, well, I don't like you because of this, that, and the other," that's nonsense, man. We all Kiwi. We all in this together.
Yeah, and everyone can succeed, and that's sort of the opposite of tall poppy syndrome. Like tall poppy syndrome's like, oh, I'm not succeeding, so I don't want that person to succeed. But there's
enough to go
around. Plenty of room at the table.
Yeah, there's plenty of room at the table.
Is there anything you miss about drugs or alcohol? Or are you scared of relapsing, or not at all now? Is it so far in the rear view now?
You know, what they say is they say never say that you're never going to do it again. They say take it day by day. Because when you say, I'll never drink again or I'll never do this again, it seems almost like an unachievable task. It seems like a mountain you got to climb. But when you do it, you just wake up one morning and you say, I'm not going to drink today. It's a lot easier to do. And then before you know it, you've got 3.5 years where you haven't touched it. I don't know if I'll drink again. I don't know. Maybe I will. You know, I don't know. Robin Williams went 22 years, I believe, of no alcohol. And then one day he was shooting a movie in Alaska and just went into a bar and just said, I'm going to have a drink today. And had a drink. And then sure enough, he went on a bender again for a month and then realized, well, it doesn't matter how long I go without it. I'm still the same old me. I don't know if I'll drink again. Maybe one day I will, but you know.
I think even though you just sort of white-knuckled this and did this on your own, I feel like what you're saying is sort of like what they teach people in AA, like just one day at a time.
Yeah.
You know, you have people that are like, well, you know, what about my son? His son's not even born yet, but what about my son's 21st? Am I not allowed to be in there?
Yeah.
So
what about,
like,
there's one thing, because me and my fiance, what about our wedding? You know what I mean? Are we going to be able to have a drink together at our wedding? Probably not, to keep it real. But it's just how important that tradition and all that shit is to you. It's not very important to me. The reason why I drink is not because it's an event. The reason I drink is because, you know, I want to feel different than what I currently feel.
Yeah. This is like some quote I saw on Instagram. It's like people drink to escape the life they've got, where the dream should be to create a life that you don't want to escape from, which I feel like is exactly what you've done.
You know what's another great quote?
What's that?
Is sobriety has given me all the things that alcohol has promised me. And I think that's a real big one, bro. Is that without being sober, there's no way I would have done all this. I would have woke up one day and gone, I'm never going to be shit. This is stupid. This is embarrassing. Why am I even trying? And I would have cracked open another Jim Beam and just went nuts, you know? But it really is about being focused. My whole life, bro, since I can remember, 12 years old onward, I've been, you know, either smoking weed or I've been drinking or I've been doing something where my brain, clouding my brain. Like, I can finally use my brain, and you know, I'm a lot smarter than I thought I was. Apparently, so,
apparently. Yeah,
it's a good thing.
What would your message be for anyone that's listening to this or watching this now with addiction issues of their own?
Yeah, you can do it. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. You know, when I was one of the last memories I have of really going on a bender is. I had a seizure, which I've never had a seizure in my life. I've never done any of that. You feel almost like hopeless when you wake up the next day and you're shaking and you need another drink. It's like, how is this ever going to end? But it can end, and everything can get better, for real.
Yeah, and in quite a quick period of time as well.
Very fast.
Yeah.
Very fast.
I saw a quote from you, which I really, really liked. We are all humans. We're all dealing with a lot of shit. The way I fixed mine is with tacos, which is a cute quote. Yeah. But and you were so right with that quote. What's the shit you're dealing with now?
The shit I'm dealing with now is just how to not fuck it up, I guess. That's kind of what stresses me out. Is just to make the right, correct decisions. I've never had any money in my life, and I've never been a very responsible person, and I have to learn now how not to fuck it up.
Oh, I reckon that's a fairly safe bet. Yeah. Like you're how old now?
38.
38.
Yeah.
So you've got enough data now to know that if you follow your instincts, it's going to end up all right. You'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So I reckon if you follow your instincts, you're not gonna fuck it up.
Yeah.
It's worked well for you so far. Got a couple of just easy ones to finish with. What would you say your best qualities are?
My best qualities. I'm very blunt. Yeah, I say it how it is. A lot of people.
So you say that's a best quality. A lot of other people around you might be like, "That's one of your worst qualities."
Some of my employees are like, "Jesus Christ, this guy's an asshole." No, I think it is a good quality, man. I think some people are a bit too timid, and you know, like they really want to say how they feel, or they really need something done, but they're like, hey, maybe we should try to do this, and we don't have a lot of time. You know what I mean? We don't have a lot of time. Just say how you feel, get it done, and just be yourself. And I'll always be myself. You know, there's a stigma in what I do, which is, you know, I'm not a fucking idiot. I'm a white person making Mexican food. And there's a lot of people that have approached me and tried to call me culture vulture or this, that, and the other. Look, I've spent a lot of time with Mexican culture and all my Mexican homeboys in California. And I don't got anything to prove to anybody on that type of shit. I don't care. You know, everybody's got their opinions. Not everybody's going to like you no matter what you do or what you say. Not everyone's going to like you, no matter how you dress. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Just be yourself and yeah. Enjoy life, yeah.
I'd say that right there is that's an example of tall poppy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, you get to that point where you're successful enough that people are going to come at you. Call you a culture vulture. Or
I mean,
whatever.
people
There's
been
plenty
coming
of
at
Mexican
me.
restaurants around Auckland.
Yeah.
They don't have Mexican people working.
Yeah, true. Hey, true. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I mean, people been coming at me like my whole life though. People, I've been fighting my whole life. People been hating on me my whole life. So I guess it's just I don't see it as specifically tall poppy. I just see people as haters. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Keep it pushing.
What's your most toxic trait?
My most toxic trait.
Or if your fiance was here, what would she say?
Oh my God. She'd be like, this motherfucker never does the dishes. He leaves his damn underwear on the floor. Yeah. Probably that I'm a bit messy, man. Yeah. I grew up, the way that I grew up, I just pop my shirt off and chuck it on the floor, and my girls just drives her nuts. I play a lot of video games, man. I'm one of them people that if I sit down and start playing video games like online and stuff, I just won't get. I'll just be on my headset. I'll be like, oh no, what'd you say? And my girl will be like, yeah, so we got dinner plans tonight, and I'd be like, huh? And she'll be like, never mind. You know, probably that.
It's funny that you're messy at home, mate, because your restaurant, it's so pristine,
extremely
spotless.
Yeah, and that's on purpose because I'm a real big believer in you know. If you walk up and the first thing you see is the outside glass and that's clean, that's really, really clean, that's a big indicator that the inside of the restaurant is probably clean. And you want to eat at a clean place. It must be spotless. That's why everything is white. It'll show you.
Well, if I went there on Saturday and your undies were on the floor,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't want to eat there.
No, don't get a plate.
When was the last time you cried?
That's a good question, man.
Are you an emotional guy or not so much?
Not so much, man. No, not so much. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say like I'm like a very bitter person or an angry person, you know, but there is a lot about, you know, the way that I grew up and the things, the tragedies, you know, I feel like I had a life of tragedy. You know, and there's a lot of shit that I'm angry about and bitter about, but just like everybody else, I guess. Just like everybody else, you know, I feel like maybe I never had like a fair shake at life, you know, but there ain't nothing I can say about it now. You know what I mean? There's nothing I can say about it now because I've overcame that and I've reaped the rewards tenfold now. You know, I'm probably, I would say arguably the most influential chef in New Zealand, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, actually, I'm not just saying that. So, you can't change your past. Like Dana White always says, like, I never look at my past. I never look at my past because what's the point? You always should look in the future, in the present and the future, because what's the point of looking at the past? You can't change it. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Yeah,
the best thing you can do with it is use it as information to fuel the future.
I use it as fuel. You know, I wake up and I go that much harder because I know I will never, ever, ever have a chance like this again, and I was never granted a chance. But the one chance I do get, I won't fuck it up.
Is there a mistake that you wish, speaking of the past, any mistake that you wish you could go back and correct?
I mean, everything brought me here, eh? It's a rough one because everything brought me here.
Yeah, that's the thing. So if you change one thing,
it's that butterfly effect.
Butterfly feet.
You seen that movie?
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher. Was it Ashton Kutcher movie?
Yeah, man, it's a crazy movie. Yeah, hell yeah! Shout out Ashton Kutcher too. I don't think
doors,
so.
Isn't it? Have you seen Sliding Doors?
I have not seen Sliding Doors.
It's the same sort of thing. It's Sliding Doors moment. Yeah.
I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I think you have to learn these horrible, heartbreaking moments. You have to go through them to be able to do what you currently are doing. You know, like people, like my girl asked me, like, how are you not stressed out nonstop by all these, you know, meetings and all this money that's being funneled into it, and you're responsible for 20 different employees, and how does that not stress you out? And I said, because I've been through worse shit. I've been through way worse shit than this, you know? So this ain't nothing.
Yeah. Oh, and as I mentioned earlier, a quote from Izzy, pressure is a privilege. Pressure creates diamonds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your biggest inspiration?
Probably my mom, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have loved, you know, that's another thing that sometimes I think probably last time I cried was because, you know, some days, man, I don't want to get too fucking sentimental and emotional, but some of these days, man, I just want to pick up the phone and call my mom and just be like, man, I can't, like, Mom, you won't believe what happened today. You know, but I'll never have the chance to do that. I'll never do that. And it is what it is. But that's one of them things, man, is that, yeah, my mom was a big inspiration. My mom was a lot like me. She was real funny and outgoing. And, yeah, my uncle Richard, he always be like, man, you're so much like your mom. You're just like a spitting image of her, and exactly the same personality and everything. And I know my mom would trip out if she saw me. But my mom would always tell me, like, you know, you're gonna be something. I know you're gonna be something one day. You got this. Like, you got this. So it would be fucking dope if I could show her, like, I fucking told you so. You know, like, you was right. But yeah, one day I'll see her again, and yeah.
Yeah, do you believe in an afterlife? Like, do you ever have moments where you feel like she's like watching over you, or you feel her presence? Yeah,
yeah, hell yeah. I feel like, and maybe not her as a physical being or whatever, but yeah, I feel like everything is connected. You know what I mean? I'm not very spiritual or religious or any of that, bro. I just think everybody, you know, we're all human beings. We all go through the same emotions, and everybody, like, tragedy and heartbreak happens to everyone in life, you know. And I think it's real important that everybody should remember that whenever we're barking at each other about politics or any of that bullshit.
Yeah, it's like that quote from yours that I read out earlier. We're all human. We're all dealing with a lot of shit. You just don't know. You don't know what shit anyone's dealing with.
No, hell no. And sometimes people ain't dealing with shit. Sometimes people don't deal with stuff for years, and they just balling out, driving Corvettes. Cool, but you know, sometimes people do deal with shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like I said, we all want the same things in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I just noticed your tattoo on your left hand. Who's Hank? It says "Long live Hank."
Yeah. That's one of my real good friends in middle school. Hank Stevens. Shout out Hank Stevens. He passed away when he was, I think, 27. He died in a motorcycle accident. Yeah, a lot of people I know died. A lot of people, like my high school sweetheart, Cheyenne Lawless. She died when she was 20, I think 28, 27, 26. A lot of friends from school, heroin overdoses or killed themselves or whatnot. Yeah, where I'm from, it's not all fucking, you know, Skittles and rainbows. That's why I put Kentucky on my forehead, because I always remind myself where I came from and just how, you know, I made it out, and yeah, won the lottery, I guess you could say. Yeah. I really did.
Are you proud of yourself?
Very proud of myself, yeah.
Have you always been able to say that, or no?
Nah, hell no. Nope. I've always been, you know, when I was younger, yada, yada, I was always cocky, you know what I'm saying? I knew I was good looking, all that. I was good looking when I was younger. But I was never proud of myself, man. I was always ashamed of myself. I was always the poorest kid in school, and you know, I didn't have a family. People's parents would come and pick them up, and I'd be walking home from school and shit. And yeah, I was always ashamed of where I lived, and it was always dirty. And you know, my mom was always nodding off on the couch, and yeah, I was never proud or happy when I was younger. But now I am. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, and so you should be. And Yeah, your mum would be immensely proud too. And just the way you speak about her with so much love, and it would be very, very easy for you to have like a chip on your shoulder or feel indifferent about her or, being mad about how you were raised. But yeah, when you speak about her, I can tell there's nothing but love.
Yeah, I mean, she was real young when she had us, and I don't think my mom. I think that she just did the best she can. You know what I mean? She didn't have all the answers, and us when you're kids, you look at your mom and your dad and you think that they got all the answers. She didn't have all the damn answers, man. She was just trying to feed us. You know what I mean? There's one instance of we pulled up to a Long John Silver's, and she got like a pack of hush puppies or something. That was like $1. It was a box of hush puppies like this, which is
what's that?
It's just like a deep fried, like a cornbread ball. Something we eat a lot, and she gave there was like 3 of them. She gave me one for me and one for my sister and one for my brother, and then I was like, I remember eating it and being like, why aren't you eating, Mom? And she was like, well, we don't have enough for me to eat, and you guys should eat it. And I ate half of it and gave the other half to my mom, and my mom started crying and gave me a hug. Like, that's one of them moments as a kid. I was like 6, maybe 7 years old. That just seemed normal to me. You know what I mean? That seemed normal to me. And thinking about it when I'm older is extremely sad. You know what I mean? But
well, it is sad. Like, you're almost at the age now that your mum was when she passed. Like, there's only like 6 years difference.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's crazy.
This has been a great chat. You were nervous when you came in. How's it been? Has it been okay?
Yeah, no, it has been good. Yeah, no,
is it nice?
It's been horrible.
Hey? No. Is it nice? Is it nice to reflect on the journey?
Yeah, it's therapeutic, man. Yeah, it is, because, like I said, all I do from wake up to sleep is think about tacos, and that's all I do, man. Just think about tacos and think about the business, and don't screw it up, and maybe it's good.
And we're recording this chat on I was going to say it's Taco Tuesday, but I suppose for you it's Taco Monday, Taco Wednesday.
Taco Wednesday, Taco Thursday. Yeah.
Hey, it's been really, really nice to meet and connect.
Thank you, sir.
And I just can't wait to see where the brand goes, because you're onto an absolute winner. And I'm just looking forward to, see you get all the success and growth that you deserve.
Oh, thank you. Means a lot. Thank you, sir.
Cheers, Sean.
Thank you.